Okay, we are recording live. Okay,
Awesome.
if you have been with us before, welcome back. If this is your first Zoom, welcome especially. We're glad that you carved out a little bit of time to encourage your sisters. I'm just going to say a really quick prayer, really quick to open, and then I'll introduce Rochelle. Okay?
Okay.
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much for our day as sisters in Christ that we can be together. And thank you for the blessing of homeschooling. I ask that you protect our families and keep them healthy and safe this new unique year. And thank you so much for Rochelle and her wisdom and her passion and her conviction about the things that she will share with us tonight. And I just ask that you will use her to be a future resource for anyone who needs help and for all of us to want to grow in this area, and that you would give us all the strength to work harder for you, because that's what it's all about. Bless our time together. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Okay. Y'all, I met Rochelle about a year ago, and our kids are friends, and my battery's running low. That would not be good if my laptop died in the middle of this. Hold on. Okay, now I'm plugged in. So our kids are friends, and I met her that way, and she came to the coach retreat for the first time this year. And when I started thinking about subjects for our chats, we kind of have gone on the theme of increase, which was our 2020 theme for the retreat. And we've talked about increasing in organization, increasing in homeschool planning, increasing in our intimacy in our marriage. And we also need to think about that verse that the whole retreat was based on, Luke 2:52. And how Jesus increased in wisdom and in stature. And so stature meaning his physical appearance and his physical condition. And so I asked Rochelle, I said, this is what we really need to hear. Selfishly, I was thinking ahead that I needed a good, swift reminder that my health is most important, and I often put myself last. And so I thought she was the perfect person because I've seen her care for her family in the kitchen, and I've seen her results of caring for herself. So I just wanted her to share with you some of the things that she loves and knows, and hopefully you'll be able to take something away that you can use for your families. So she is a mother of 4, one who just left the nest to go to preaching school. So we all need to give her some virtual hugs for that. And so she still has 3 at home that she's homeschooling, and great mom, great wife, and she's from the great state of Missouri. So I'll turn it over to Rochelle.
Hi, everyone. I wanted to just talk a little bit, just kind of get some basics down, kind of what my story has been and my journey and how it's led to where I am now. It's been a very long, tedious journey as far as figuring out health-wise. It was basically back in 2012, after I had my last child, I started to realize that my hormones weren't really getting back to normal. I was kind of just all over the place emotionally. And I also, some things just started surfacing as far as things I've been dealing with as a teenager and then just kept gradually getting worse. I had been to doctors for stomach issues, for skin issues. I mean, and I kept just getting the same runaround, put a cream on it or take this pill or whatever. And I also had a lot of trouble conceiving. Each child, I had to take a baby aspirin to begin with. Once I knew I was pregnant, basically immediately, because I was having miscarriages. They don't really know why. But it did help, like a baby aspirin right before, up until basically 20 something weeks. And so I had to do that with every child, or I would miscarry. So I had several miscarriages along the way. And so that also played into part of my health and trying to figure out what was going on. So after my 4th child, things just weren't registering. It just wasn't clicking with the doctors what was going on. And so I had a friend of mine kind of started introducing me to some like natural-ish, remedies and some things that helped her, because she was in her 40s and was still trying to conceive, and so she was doing some things naturally and it was helping. And so anyway, she kind of gave me some tips, and then I found a doctor that I went to that is a more holistic doctor, and he really, really helped me. He found out I had some food allergies. He did some testing in that. He told me that my liver was actually very sluggish, and that was the reason for a lot of my skin problems, my hormone problems, and things that just never registered to me that it was the connection of my issues. And so I just started delving into a bunch of research. I'm that type of person. If I find something wrong, I just want to know all about it. And so basically that's what I did. I started just with his help and just all the research that I did, I started realizing that there was a lot of underlying issues that I needed to work out, and food seemed to be, and supplements seemed to be the answer for me. So that started my journey, and basically it's been, like I said, since 2012. And it started out real slow. Just it is a slow process. Your body has to heal in a slow way, because a lot of times we're used to just taking a pill or whatever, and a lot of times that does help, but for my chronic issues, I was needing something beyond that. And so that's kind of where I started, and I have not stopped doing research ever since. And so it's led me down a path of health for not only myself, but for my family. We found out my daughter had some gluten issues. My son has some dairy issues. I mean, we really didn't know all these things that were connected to the symptoms we were having. So that's kind of how where I'm at in my journey, and how I've gotten where I have. So
that's great. Thank you for sharing, because everybody has like a trigger or a moment, and so that was hers. And so maybe you're dealing with some of the same symptoms or some of the same valleys. And if not, you're still going to learn a lot that you can apply, even if you feel like you're on a mountaintop right now. You may have some symptoms arise later that you go, oh yeah, she mentioned that. So.
Well, and it can be very overwhelming at first. That's why I really kind of want to be basic at first, because it can be very overwhelming. I was so overwhelmed with all the information that I was reading and studying on, and I had notes after notes and books, and I mean, it just was so overwhelming. And so it can be very overwhelming. So
yes. Okay, so one of the things I did ask, I gave her some questions to think about ahead of time, and she could talk about those, or she could also add to them. But one of the questions one of the things I asked her to think about to share with us was, were there any particular verses or passages that she found helpful to focus her mentally on better health?
Yes, there is a verse in 1 Corinthians 10:31, and I can go ahead and get that open for y'all. It says, so whether you eat or drink or whatever you do, do all to the glory of God. And that's been kind of our verse for a while, just kind of focusing on what we need to do for God and how we treat ourselves, how God would want us to treat ourselves, and not trying to please others, not trying to please man, but to do everything for what God would want us to do. And so part of that goes hand in hand with how we treat our body, the physical, emotional, everything that we have, how we're treating that as far as that goes. And also, I had another verse, let me look here. It's in 2 Timothy 1:7. This also helped me because I suffer from anxiety a lot. And so a lot of it was health anxiety, basically just feeling overwhelmed with dealing with health issues, worrying about if I'm going to be here for my family to take care of them, just different things. And so another verse that has also helped me on this journey has been 2 Timothy 1:7. And oddly enough, my doctor that I see now, she is a holistic doctor, and she has brought this verse up to me several times, and it's helped me with my anxiety. It says, for God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and sound mind and of love. And let me see. And did I write it down wrong? Oh, let me go back here. It was late last night when I was writing this down.
You're totally fine.
Okay. And I have it written on my refrigerator. I can't believe I just didn't what is this? For God gave us a spirit of not fear, but of power and love and of self-control. So just making sure that I keep my mind right as far as focusing on the things that he would want me to do, and not constantly worrying about something that either is out of my control or something that I can control, and doing what I can within that power to make it right. So she, when I started seeing her, she was so amazing about part of my healing had to be getting my mind right. And she said, spiritually, you need to make sure that that's something that you're focusing on as well. It's not, our healing journey does not just mean our physical body. Like, yes, it is what we put in our bodies and what we're doing to that, but also it's also spiritually and just how we are mentally. So that really helped me, and I have come a long way since that, because I was kind of in a rut before that, just kind of stuck at not fully being able to heal the things I needed to. And she was so right on when she mentioned that, and that verse really, really has stuck with me. In fact, like I said, I have it written down just so I can look at it very often. So
very good. Those are very good. Okay, what if you could only choose 3 habits for someone to take baby steps, if you were coaching somebody to start taking baby steps and changing their habits to be better health habits, what would your top 3 be?
Okay, this was a hard one because I have so many different things that I do, but
I should have given her like the number 12, right?
You should have, because there are so many things that are so important in healing and just the things that we need to do. But
you can share more than 3. You can
okay. The three that I came up with was, the first thing was prayer. Being in prayer daily and as often as you can, because like I said, keeping our mind sound, thinking on the good things, thinking on things that are lovely and pure, and the things that God tells us to do is so important. But it sounds cliche, but it really is a big step in just feeling better mentally, so that you can take care of your family, so that you can take care of yourself, because those are our priorities. So without those things, we're not able to make the changes we really need to anyway. So I have that. Prayer is one. Also, another habit that I have, and I wish I would have brought it down, and I didn't. I have a planner that I write out every day, and in that planner, I write down that at the top of my planner, I write down the things that I'm going to do for myself for that day, so that are important to my health. And I'll go through, like, okay, I'm going to have my smoothie. I'm going to do I do lemon water in the morning. But one of the things I was going to tell you about is drinking water. Water has got to be an important part of your everyday regimen of just being healthy. And they recommend doing a half of your body weight in water. And a lot of times we don't realize that when we're sweating, or when it's hot out, we need to even drink a little bit more than that, because obviously when we sweat, we perspire and we are losing the liquids that our body needs. But it also is good for balancing your minerals. So to have a good balanced minerals, we need to be drinking clean, pure water also on top of that. So and also dehydration sets in. It can affect so much. It can affect your mental state, obviously your heart. It's just so important. So that's one of the habits that I make sure I have. And I have on my my calendar, my little planner, I have like I say, fill up your water, and I put ×2. So I have a water bottle that's, gosh, I think it's 48 ounces or 52 ounces. It's huge. And I fill that at least 1.5 times. And so I will check off, because I'm OCD like that. Like, I like to make lists. And so I will check off, okay, I check 1 for, I did filled it once, and then check 2 that I filled it again. So it just is to help me be mindful of the water that I'm drinking, because if I don't, I'm so busy throughout the day, I will forget that how much I've drank. And then by the end of the day, I've got a headache or whatever. So that really has helped me. And the third habit that I have that's very, very important, that sometimes we get lax about is getting enough sleep. Doctors recommend, or at least my doctor has recommended 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night. And the main reason is because when we're asleep, our body is healing. And so the more time you can get before 11 o'clock, so say 10 o'clock.
She doesn't want it.
Before 11, so like starting at 10 and getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep from 10 on. But obviously that is not always going to work for everybody, but the most hours of sleep you can get, because our body's healing. And every hour, I'm not sure how many people are really into the Chinese medicine type thing, but that's been brought up several times in my studies, that the Chinese go by like their they have a clock that that it shows. I've got this off Pinterest, but it's like every hour, it's in 2-hour blocks, and every two hours you've got a body organ that's healing. So say for instance, from 11 to 1 is your gallbladder. From 1 to 3 is your liver. So it's your body's healing itself throughout those times in the evening and overnight. And if we're up and we're doing things, our body's not able to rest and fully heal. So that's why sleep is so important. And like I said, if you've ever gotten a minimal amount of sleep, you know the next day you just don't feel good. You're dragging, it affects your mental health. You just aren't yourself. And that's because, like I said, your body has not been able to recoup after, what we put it through the day before. And so that resting time is so important. And also, I know you've probably read, but like 2 hours before bedtime, turning off the electronics. It's hard on our eyes. It's hard on our mental health, just because we see things on Facebook or whatever, the news or whatever you may be looking at, that maybe, you can't stop thinking about trying to go to sleep or whatever. So those things also are recommended, just to, put away the electronics a couple hours, 1 to 2 hours before bedtime. So yeah, those are the top 3 habits that like I said, I've tried to implement in our home. But like I go a little step further with the water. Like in my regimen, I make sure I get lemon water. They recommend lemon water in the morning, the first thing, just because it gets your liver to start wanting to start working. Okay, so it starts, you've been asleep, then when you start drinking water, and lemon water is very good for that, it kind of wakes your digestive system up, your liver, and says, okay, hey, I'm ready to get going. And so it kind of wakes those things up, that you're able to start functioning for the day, getting ready to digest food and whatnot. So it's very important. So that's another extra step that I do. But like I said, just getting water, even if you don't have lemon, just start drinking some water in the morning at room temperature is the best. If you can do that. I had to learn and wean myself off of cold drinks, because I tended to want to just grab ice water in the morning, and it kind of almost shocks your digestive system. So it's easier to start with just like either warm water, if you can do tea or whatever, but like just a room temperature water is basically what they say. So it definitely has helped, believe me, it really has. So
very good.
Yeah,
it makes me think we're not supposed to feel guilty if we get good sleep, because oftentimes I in the past, and maybe you have to, have apologized, like, oh, I slept too long, like it's like I'm behind already, and like I'm not a hard worker if I sleep more than 6 hours,
Yes,
so.
I know. I only got 6 hours last night, and because I had to get up, my daughter had to be at work. She started babysitting, and so she had to get up, or she started getting up at like 6:30 or 6. And so I always get up, so I have her lunch ready and everything prepared. Well, I went to bed late, and I only got 6 hours of sleep, and I was dragging today. I took a nap, and I'm not one that usually takes a nap, but my body was just telling me, we need to slow down here. You need to get your rest. So it felt a lot better. But yeah, I mean, you truly do start to drag. It's just not. It's not. Doesn't feel good. So yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think I said prayer, so we're good with that. That was my main thing. Carving out time for Bible study it goes hand in hand with prayer, just making sure that is something that's so important that I used to skip all the time. I would try to fit it in another, time of day or whatever. If you can get it in the morning, that's always obviously better, but we have crazy schedules. I understand that, but it works for me where I get up able to start my day with focusing on, because if I'm going to get anxiety, it's usually right when I wake up. Like in the morning, for some reason, my anxiety gets triggered for some reason. So for me personally, I know and feel it coming. I know what I need to do. I just carve out that time, get my mindset, and go from there. So
get your anchor going.
Yes.
Okay. Let's see. What resources do you use most when planning meals for your busy family? Talking about Better Health here. For those of you who've jumped on, and I'm asking what resources she utilizes to help her plan.
Okay, so most of my resources for recipes, all those things have come from Pinterest. And I know a lot of people have that account. And so using that has been my go-to, because sometimes if I'm too busy in the evening, I have a wonderful husband that has stepped up and likes to help out in the kitchen. So it's easy for me. I make a list, and of course I left it upstairs. I make a list every week, and it's a grid, and it has 3, so Monday through Friday, it has breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then under that is all of my ingredients that I need. And so I just take that to the grocery store and I make out everything we're going to have for the week. Now, I've just recently started, since school's been back, doing a breakfast that's the same thing every week, because mornings for me are hard to get everybody going. Some people are going in different directions. And honestly, it just makes sense for us to just the kids know what we're having that morning, because it's just right there. We've had it the Monday before. And so, okay. And everything's not, everybody is fine with it. It's not like, oh, we're having this again. So far, everybody's been on board with that, and my kids already know what to expect. So that has helped. But, the lunch and dinners change, but I have saved lists so that I can go back and say, oh yeah, that was a good dinner. And so I'll write that down. So it's kind of helpful for me to know what worked for the kids, what didn't work. But we are a gluten-free family, so everything's usually gluten-free. My son, now that he's out of the house, we are back to having dairy. But before that, we had to modify things for that. And just adding as many fruits and vegetables throughout the day we can. Snacks, I buy a lot of apples and oranges and strawberry. I load up on the fruits so that my kids have fruit for a snack for the most part. We do a lot of nuts and seeds, and let's see, they do granola bars. I have made my own. That's helped too. But a lot of people, it's for convenience. I understand that. I'm totally about convenience, and so my main thing is just looking at the ingredients. If the ingredients are things I can't pronounce, that has been my goal. If there's something I cannot pronounce, then it's something that we're not going to eat, because it's something that my body will not recognize. So that's a big rule in our house, is that we have to be able to recognize the ingredients, or our body does, for us to be able to process and get something nutritional out of the food. So that, because we do buy packaged food every once in a while. Like I said, I don't home make everything, but when I do, I just try to make sure that we understand what's in it. So reading the labels and all of that really has helped. So good. Teaching my kids that, because like I said, I have a son that just moved away, and I have to brag on him for just a second, because it just goes to show you how much influence you have on your kids through this health journey, because he has some, dietary needs that he has to watch out for. And he is living in an apartment with another student, and they have a full kitchen and all of that. And so he sent me his first grocery list, and he did it a lot like what I did. And I was so proud of him, because it just made me feel good to know that, I never said that to him. I never said, hey, when you go off, make sure you do this and this and this and this. I didn't want to be that helicopter parent. So I just let him make those choices, how he was going to do that. And then I knew eventually if he wasn't feeling good, he would call me and say, Mom, hey, what do I do? I'm not feeling, you know what I mean? Then I'd have my little ends to say, hey, we need to adjust this or whatever. So it made me feel good. He made his own list, and most of it was great. I mean, I was so proud of him. It was great to see that he was taking the initiative to maintain his health while he's away from home. So it's just so important that your kids pick it up. You know, my kids have really done well with that, like going over to somebody's house, oh, I can't eat that or whatever, you know, being polite or whatever. But it's just a matter of just trying to train your children to be a little bit more mindful of their health, because that's so important. So
very good.
But yeah, Pinterest is my resource. Basically, I don't really use cookbooks as much just because it just takes up space, and I can find everything I need off of Pinterest. Basically, I mean, there may be a few cookbooks that I've ordered from the library that I just randomly will look at, but I take, obviously I take them back, so I don't have to have a storage of a bunch of cookbooks. So I'm so thankful for Pinterest on that avenue. So
very good.
Yeah.
And now everybody can follow her and see all of her boards.
Absolutely, please do.
Okay, if you, getting back to the baby steps for beginning journeys, you changed a lot of things over the last several years, or since 2012. If somebody was trying to see some immediate changes, maybe in how their body feels or their energy, what is one of the things that you would recommend eliminating first?
Well, I would say the best thing that helped me was gluten, because gluten our wheat has been modified, and so the same wheat that maybe our grandparents used to consume is not the same wheat we're consuming today. And so basically what's happening is our body is getting inflamed. And so it affects so many parts of our body that we don't realize that it's affected or associated with gluten, and like joint pain, headaches, mood swings, stomach issues. I mean, the list goes on and on how gluten has effects on people that we just do not associate and put two and two together. Allergies. I mean, so if our body is inflamed and we're consuming it, you know, when we took our daughter off of gluten, I think it was like 3 years ago. So she was just getting into her teen years. And we look back at pictures, and she's just like really puffy. Her face is just really puffy. You could just tell. And when we took her off of it, we've seen pictures since then and things. I mean, she looks like a whole different kid almost. It's like she was so inflamed that she had some swelling, and when that went away, the swelling went away. And so our bodies do hold on to that. It's kind of our body's way of protection and protecting itself, and so the best that it can. And so when we removed that, she was able to kind of, it's almost like just it was gone. So I would say gluten would be the first thing I would do, and then after that, you probably will see a lot of issues kind of start to work itself out. But drinking the water, like I said, drinking water is so important through any type of healing, because it helps your body detoxify, gets your body moving. All the things that you're putting in yourself, it needs to be eliminated, and the way we can help do that is through consumption of our water instead of pop, or my daughter likes tea, but we have to really watch her intake of that, because too much of that is not good. So we should just try to make sure that is a daily staple. But I would say gluten would be my first suggestion on that. So
very good. And
I give your body at least 2 weeks, because I remember studying, and it was like 15 days. Like, say you take a bite of gluten, it takes 15 days for that to be fully eliminated out of your system. Like for your
15 days
for one bite. So if we're consuming it all the time, give your body some time to readjust. So, okay. I mean, and healing, like I said, healing takes so long. I mean, it just does, because your body heals one thing at a time. Whatever most important, it's going to focus on that first. And then once that is done, being healed, then the next thing, it moves to the next thing and the next thing. So through my journey, I've had different symptoms, but it's been because one was eliminated, one was fixed. My body went on to the next thing that needed worked on. So through healing, it does take time, and your body will have to go through that period of healing. So
very good. And I see some questions rolling in, and I'll save those for the end. And if you think of something, just type that on the chat. Okay, Rochelle, how do you handle criticism or negative feedback in the church for the choices that you make? I said in the church, but it could be anywhere. It could be family. How do you handle negative criticism or feedback from people about your family's choices for food or exercise or homeschool, just your life in general? Because as we know, one affects the other. So
right.
Food and exercise and your relationship in school is all kind of mixed together. How have you learned to handle that and maybe get a little thicker skin? Any advice?
Well, when we first started doing this, we got a lot of questions. Basically, everybody wanted to know why we were doing what we were doing. Like my mother-in-law, she's in her 70s. She's never heard of organic. She never heard of gluten-free. So she was like, what are you talking about? Like, why are you doing that? What does that mean? You know, because everything she grew up on was already organic. And I mean, gluten-free wasn't even a thing back then. So for her, she was very like taken back, like thought we were just some weirdo that had jumped on a crazy train and was trying something new, you know. But so we got some of that, but most of the time people were very supportive, and it's more common. And so like a lot of people at our church are gluten-free already, or have some children that are gluten-free, and we have a huge support system as far as homeschoolers go. So everybody just kind of does their own thing anyway. So we didn't really get a lot of opposition or just a lot of questions wondering why we're doing it, what kind of symptoms we were having. They were almost curious for themselves just to kind of know, like, hey, is this something I need to do, or is this just a new age thing, you know? And so it's been fairly good the most part. I haven't had too much, you know, bad negative comments on this journey. So we've been very blessed on that. So
that's very good. Good. Not to feel alone, and you're not as weird as most other people.
Right.
Do you have any recommendations for, because, you know, of course, when you start to cook differently and prepare differently, you may have some favorite products or favorite equipment that you think, oh, you could never make it without it now.
Okay, so some of the products that we use on a daily basis, and I do say this because, and I understand every family's financial situations are different, but we
said electronic off. Lincoln, for me.
Hey, Mandy. Mandy?
Yes, ma'am. Oh.
Can you push mute? There you go. Okay.
Sorry, I was talking to you. I was answering you. Corey's in the living room going, me?
Okay, go ahead, Rochelle.
Okay. Some of the products that we use, I've spent a little bit extra money on just because I've had good reviews for those. But we use a Vitamix for our smoothies, but it also does a lot of other things. It's multitasker. Like it grinds my oats for flour. It, you know, makes hot soups. It does so many different things that I don't feel as bad spending the money on, because it's something I use every day. In fact, when we go on vacation, there are 2 items that we bring with us in the kitchen. It is my Vitamix, and I also juice a lot of in addition to my meals, so I bring my juicer. So those are the 2 things. But I mean, obviously there's all the other fun gadgets we have. There's another thing that in the kitchen that everybody probably has, and I use it every day because I consume garlic in a lot of my meals. It's just healthy and it's delicious, and you know, some people can't stand it, but I just love garlic. And so I use my garlic press. And I told my husband the other day, I said, I could not live without this thing. It's just one gadget tool. It's a pampered chef, and it works like it needs to, and it does the job. And I'm cleaning that thing every single day. So those, and then I have my cast iron skillet that I cook everything in, and it's the enameled kind. So that's something I use every day because obviously I cook a lot of meals. So yeah, those are I say basics, but those are the main things that I'm using every day. So
very good. Yes, I've seen her juice a lot of things, and I'm like, how can you really drink that celery juice without making that face? And she said it really grows on you and it makes your body feel fantastic. So yeah. Okay, you mentioned borrowing some books from the library versus buying all the cookbooks. If you could recommend like your top 2 or 3 finds, in the last year or 2 that you found really helpful, so they could maybe jot those down, what would they be?
There is a book. Okay, so I'm going to recommend this book, but I want to be upfront with you. I do not recommend his religious background or his religious findings or anything like that. So I just want to start that off right now. But it's called Medical Medium. I use his book for mainly just recipes because he does a fabulous job on a lot of just plant-based so-called recipes that I use on a regular basis. So that's one of them. But like I said, I do want to recommend or tell you up front that I do not follow his or recommend or anything of that nature, his religious background. So that's that one. And then there's another one called, oh geez, what is it called? The name it's an autoimmune book. And that one too, and I'm sorry, the name just.
It's okay. If you message me anything you forgot, then okay. I can, post it on the wall. Okay. But for the most part, if I'm going to do any kind of book from the library, it's usually just about recipes, some things that maybe I've heard of or somebody's recommended to me that I use. But most of the time, I strictly just stick with Pinterest on that aspect for food or preparation and all of that, because that's been a lifesaver for me. It's handy. It's on your phone when you're out at the store and you want to check your list or check your recipe or whatever. It's right there. I don't have to worry about the book or whatever. So carry it with you. Exactly. Yeah. And we're all busy homeschool moms. So tell us some things that maybe back in the day you would have bought out of the box, but now you try to take a little bit of time either on the weekends or in the mornings or whatever to prep some stuff for your kids so that they have a healthier alternative. For example, she's made protein balls for her kids before that I tried, and I got the recipe from her, and they're delicious and they're really good if you put them in the freezer, and you can just pop a couple in your mouth for breakfast or have a snack. It's peanut butter, it's oats, it's honey, it's chocolate chips, it's some chia seeds, something I'd never made before, but it was really good. I'd seen people post recipes, but it was really easy and really fast versus Quaker Oats chocolate chip granola bar, kind of thing. So can you give them 2 or 3 more ideas for some kid snacks or treats? Sure. I also make my own granola bars. So those are basically just the same. It's just oats, your kind of nut butter. It could be peanut butter. It could be almond butter. We do almond just because my daughter is allergic to nuts or peanuts. So we just do that. It's honey, coconut oil, and a little bit of vanilla extract, and you melt it on the stove, and then you pour it in a pan like a 9x13, and you throw it in the oven at 350 for like 12 minutes. So if I can always post that recipe too. And then when that comes out, and when that comes out, you just cut it up into bars, and there you go. Also, another alternative to eating out a lot, we have a nice place about 20 minutes away where we go shopping. It's called Terra. It's a health food supplement store, and they do fresh juices and smoothies, and then they sell their supplements. We go there. We stop there for
for lunch. Like we'll be out and about and we stop there for a big smoothie bowl, and the smoothie bowl consists of granola and a smoothie and some fruit on top with some more granola, and it's kind of layered. And I've learned how to make my own granola, so now we do our own smoothie bowls at home. Very easy to do. My kids beg for them. They're always asking for those type of things. So that's something that I make in addition to supplement a cereal or a breakfast item that we might have eaten that is super easy. So I just make that ahead of time, the granola, and then just store it in a glass container, and then it's ready to go. So I'm trying to think. Homemade pancakes. I made that this morning. Geez, you know, we do simple things too, like hard-boiled eggs, you know, for breakfast with toast, or a smoothie, hard-boiled eggs in a smoothie. We had that the other morning. So just simple things like that. I just try to make sure that it's simple and still healthy, you know.
Right.
So
Oh, I'll throw this tip out there. She taught me to peel your bananas and throw them in. If the bananas are kind of like, you know, either you got too many or they're almost ready to go bad, peel them, put them in a Ziploc bag, and put them in the freezer, and use them for your smoothies because they're much sweeter when they're frozen than they're not. Am I the only person who didn't know that?
well, a lot of people put I started out just throwing them in the freezer peeled, or not peeled, unpeeled. And then I thought, well, this is silly because now I'm still out of peeling a frozen banana trying to get it in a smoothie, just because I was saving them just because they were going bad and I wanted to use them for banana bread or whatever. But I realized that a frozen banana is so much sweeter than if you just take it from, you know, just off the shelf and use it. It makes it sweeter, so you don't have to sweeten your smoothie. It just is kind of a natural sweetener and you don't have to worry about it. So that, and plus it saves time. We get a gallon Ziploc bag, throw them all in there when we buy them, making sure they're already kind of a yellow, you know, green bananas, they're just not as sweet. So I wait till they get a little bit, you know, yellow or a little more than yellow, almost going bad. And I throw them into a Ziploc bag and put them in the freezer and just take one out or two or whatever I need. So very easy, good, nutritious snack, even if you want to cut it up at frozen and eat it frozen. My kids like that, frozen banana pop, dip it in, we do chocolate chips that are dairy free or whatever. And so it makes a good snack that way too. So yeah. Okay. I did want to mention on supplements, if you take a supplement, say if you want to go get a vitamin C or you want to go get a zinc, I know a lot of people are doing zinc right now, and vitamin C's and vitamin D. My recommendation is always has been from my doctor to just make sure that it's a whole food product, because a lot of the supplements we may buy they have a lot of fillers in them, which in turn is really not helping you at all. And so a whole food, Garden of Life is a brand that is well known for the whole food vitamin. Basically, it's just a bunch of ground up vegetables, fruits, all those things, and put in a capsule. And so your body recognizes that whenever you consume that. And so that is something that we need to be mindful of when we're consuming supplements, like a vitamin C, making sure it's not absorbed. Gosh, I can't remember that ingredient now. Anyways, just making sure that it's a whole vitamin,
okay.
Whole vitamin. So.
And you said Garden of Life?
Garden of Life.
Okay.
You can order that off Amazon. If you go to, I know Walmart doesn't sell that brand, but I know like a Sprouts, a Whole Foods, any kind of health store will have a Garden of Life, but you can also buy it off Amazon.
Okay.
So.
Do you have anything else to add before I throw some questions out?
I don't think so. I have written down some things that I wanted to, just like, also one other thing, product or I guess utensil or whatever you want to call it for the kitchen is the crock pot or pot. I know a lot of people are doing Instapots now. Those things are good time savers, plus health. Still you're able to consume healthy food by using those. And so I know a lot of people need convenience, and so those type of appliances are really helpful for that. And I think I forgot to mention that. So yeah, I think that was on my list of things to talk about. But yeah.
Well, if something else pops up, you can interrupt me anytime.
Okay.
One of the first questions was early on, you talked about water when I asked about the 3 habits that you would try to start first, or the things that you couldn't live without would be, you said drinking and then prayer and then sleep.
Mhm.
And so Rose says, for the lemon water, how much lemon? Fresh squeezed, lemon juice in a squeeze thingy from the grocery, lemon essential oil? What?
Okay. I would suggest a 32-ounce water with a full lemon, cut, like just I slice my lemon in half and I just squeeze them both into my water, and then you know, strain the seeds or whatever you want to do. But when I have been out of my lemons, I have used lemon essential oil. Now the only thing is you have to be very careful with what you consume as far as essential oils go. Not all companies are the same. So for me, I would say I would not recommend it, just because whatever essential oil you have, you need to really do your research and make sure it's consumable. So I do use Young Living essential oils. They are consumable. So if you do something like that, that would be fine. But other than that, I would not be consuming an essential oil unless you know for sure that company has been approved to do so.
Okay, good point. Okay. Rosebank says, I would love to know your breakfast menu. We're on a quest for more good choices. So I guess I can tell you the other things that they want to. And then, like I said, if you want to pass them to me, we could like compile them into one document and I could share it on the page.
Okay.
One is the breakfast menu. And the menu where you were talking about for the week, is that a template or just something you write by hand?
I just make it up.
Okay. Maybe you could take a picture and send it to me.
Okay, I will do that. Picture
And
of.
then April says the turkey ball recipe. Do you mean the protein ball? If it sounded like I said turkey ball, I meant protein ball.
Okay.
Okay, so do that. And then Rose said smoothie bowl recipe.
Okay.
Michelle Tennant has shared that vitacost.com has Garden of Life products. We need the granola bar recipe.
Okay.
We basically need you to, just take turns and come to all our houses.
Well, I will tell you, if you are on Pinterest, I would highly suggest on there is, like I said, that's where I get all of my my resources. I will say I do have written down here. Let me go back here.
Let me ask you, are you Rochelle Olson on Pinterest? Because what if they look you up and you're something different?
I don't know if I'm Olson's clan. I cannot remember. So it would be my last name, OLSONSCLAN, or it would be my name, RACHEL, Olson, OLSON.
Try one of those two.
Yes. I want, if they could write this down. I wrote down a few ladies or a few health coaches that I follow also on Instagram, if you have an Instagram account, because these ladies have not only helped me just with some more information on health, but also some recipes. I forgot that I do go by them periodically. It's called just.ingredients. So just.ingredients. That's one lady I follow. She's from Utah. She is a dietitian, sorry.
On Instagram, right?
On Instagram.
Okay.
And she is amazing at giving some really good health tips. Not only that, but some really good products. Like she recommended, we needed an air purifier in our home. So she had recommended one and we bought it and I've loved it. And it really does well. It covers like a 2,200 square foot area. It's just been amazing. So she does offer or recommend some products that she uses. She also got me to thinking about storing food. She does told us, gave a big article about that. And so helping just store your food for what emergencies. It's helped through the COVID, all of that. So she's great at that. Also, another health coach that I follow is Gutsy. So GUTSY and then _mom. And she also does podcasts. So if you ever listen to podcasts, She
Very
does,
good.
yeah, she does podcasts on there because she is a health practitioner per se, and she does a lot. She's from Utah, so you would, but she does work with people outside of the state. So if that's something you ever want to look into, she works with people out of state. If you wanted to ever get some blood work done and move in that direction, she is. I have not used her, but I have followed her, and she's been really great about just health-wise and all that. And I've listened to her podcast. Actually, her husband had stage 4 colon cancer, and that's how she began her health journey, because she wanted to help heal, get him healed without using all of the chemo and everything like that. So anyways, great story, great information on her. The other thing I follow on Instagram is called Plant, P-L-A-N-T, Benefits. And that is just basically, it's just a page on recipes, healthy recipes. So that's one of the other ones I follow. So those 3 are the main ones. That benefits, yes.
Okay. Hey, those are good to know.
Yeah.
Plant benefits. Do you mean the planted benefit? I'm just pulling it up right now, and I don't see. Is there underscores? Because there's like a lot of like plant dot benefits.
No, I have it written down as plant benefits. Let me double check that one. Can I look at that while I'm on here? Or
Yeah. Does this look? Let's see. Hold on. Does that look right? Like it?
No.
Oh. Okay.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Let me relook at that one and make sure that that's the name of that. But I thought I written it down.
No problem. And April, when she heard me say turkey ball, she said that, maybe she thought I said turkey, and maybe you can invent one turkey ball recipe.
I do have some. I do have a turkey ball recipe. I have, because we sometimes use beef, but it varies, because when we buy beef, we buy it from a farmer, and he is not always, especially right now, he is not always butchering because they're backed up because of all the COVID stuff. So yeah, we've had to use some alternatives to grass-fed beef, and that's been kind of an adjustment, but we've done fine. You could do turkey and ground chicken as well. So
okay. We also have somebody who said, I would recommend that if you start to eliminate gluten, don't just buy the processed gluten-free products without looking at the labels. Some things are unhealthy because of how they make them gluten-free.
exactly.
And that makes sense, because I'm sure back in the 90s, when everything was fat-free and everybody was rushing out to buy Snackwell's cookies that tasted like cardboard, they weren't exactly good for you.
Exactly.
And then frozen bananas are good for a nice cream too. Also a Pinterest find. Nice cream. Okay, got to do that. That's a great idea.
Yes, and I make banana milk, and it's delicious.
You're getting a little too Caroline Ingalls on me here.
Well, it's just bananas and water. It's really so simple. It's almost
really?
Yes, it's almost easier than going to your fridge and getting your milk out of the refrigerator. You just
put my word.
Yes, you put a frozen banana and a regular banana in your blender. Put some 1 cup of water and turn it on, and you blend it, and then you pour it over whatever you want. It's sweet. It's delicious. It's cold. I use that instead of a lot of the canned milks or the plant-based milk, nut milks, whatever you want to call it, because the almond milk and things like that, when you buy them, they tend to have some ingredients in there that it's still not healthy. Even though it's an alternative, it's still not healthy. You got some things that are added. So we use it on a rare basis, but most of the time, I mean, I could get into a lot of things, but we do some raw milk from a farmer, and for my kids that can have milk, my son had goat milk, and I do like a coconut milk, but I make sure the coconut milk in a can has nothing but just coconut in it and water. It doesn't have anything else, because you can still get coconut milk with things added in it that you don't want. So you got to just, like the lady said earlier, you have to read your labels, because just because it says gluten-free, my kids used to think that, oh, it's gluten-free, so I can have it. I'm like, no, it's got like 20 ingredients in it that some we can't even recognize. So if it's got like 2 or 3 ingredients in your gluten-free item, that's good. And you're, The pastas, I mean, make sure it just says brown rice pasta or brown rice. I mean, it's basically the only ingredient in there, you know, so you got to be real careful just with everything, even though it's labeled healthy, and even when it says natural or organic, we still have to be label readers so that we know what we're putting in our bodies. So
very good idea. Okay, and I think this is the last question I've typed, and then I'm going to let anybody ask a question that maybe was too long to type out or that they just thought of. Someone said that they have been struggling, with this very topic, and was glad to come to this Devo, and said that maybe somebody can give some practical tips. And this can be Rochelle or anybody here today. How do you turn to God in times of stress and turmoil? I've always turned to food. It's quick and easy, makes me happy for a minute, but it's not what I want to turn to. I want to turn to Him, but I'm not sure exactly what that looks like besides reading and studying His Word and praying. Has anybody got any good advice on this? I read a book once that suggested whatever you turn to in hard times is quite literally your God. I don't want it to be anything but capital G-O-D. And so I'm sure people can identify with that because women are probably much more emotional eaters than men. I'm just going to go with that idea. Hopefully that question makes sense, what she messaged me. Does anybody have any practical tips for her? She had to leave, but she will catch it later.
Okay, well, from my experience, I've struggled, like I said, with anxiety, which if anybody suffers from anxiety, depression, you know that it takes your focus off of the job at hand, whether it's church, whether it's your children, whether it's your husband, your marriage, finances, anything, whatever is ailing you as far as that goes mentally. It is easy to turn to food because food is a comfort. Our body was made to consume food. And so it is a craving that we desire. It's heightened when we need that comfort. But it is temporary. And so the problem will still be there after you've had your meal or whatever. And so what I can suggest for myself is that prayer and just meditation has helped me so much through my journey, because I can confide in my husband, and I could, and he would try to give me words of wisdom, and he did really good about doing that. But it's still, when I'm in my alone time, when I'm doing something, I'm still struggling with that. And so I have to know, and I know, like I said, a lot of people say it's cliche, just pray or just this. But when we really meditate on God's word and we're able to just focus and know that He's speaking to you when you're reading that and make it personal, for me, it just has helped me so much to understand that I put too much emphasis on the world around me and the things that are going on. I need to refocus and know that my purpose here is to serve Him first. And so whatever that means, through whatever avenues I have to do that, that is what I have to focus on first. It will eventually trickle down to my family, my children, all those things that I need to. But first, my relationship with Him, what I need to do, is so much important that if I lose interest in that or lose my focus, then I wind up in the same position I was but last week or wherever I was. So for me personally, it is a daily commitment that I have to make, carving out that time. And I mean, seriously, carving it out, not just, I'm going to take a 5-minute Bible study, but really knowing if it's getting up 30 minutes before your children or whatever it is, just making sure that you're taking that personal time with Him, meditating, making sure that, you're just sitting there in a quiet space just for 5 minutes before you start praying, just concentrating on God and having a prayer time and then opening His word, and just really knowing that this is more about your relationship with Him and not just, I'm just going to check it off my list and hope that it helps later on in the day. So that's me personally. Also journaling has helped. Writing down my feelings, writing down what's going on, has helped a lot in making my feelings be known. I'm not actually, if you feel like you want to tell somebody, fine. But me personally, after I've told my husband, I will journal just so I know that I'm also getting it out in that avenue too. I can go back and look or whatever later on if I need to, but it really has helped. So journaling, personal time with God, making it personal, basically. So.
Right. Well, I think that's important. I shared at the retreat a book about how we can take verses and insert our child's name and pray for our child by putting their name in there. And we can do the same thing with ourselves in this aspect with what you're saying. Just spending that time to focus on him and know that he will give us the strength to do whatever it is we're setting out to do if we carve out the time. Yeah.
I also wanted to mention, this is also for mental health, helping mental health, is exercise. And I'm not saying, because I'm not an exercise person. I do not like to get up on a treadmill. I do not like to do weights. I'm not a big fitness guru, but moving 30 minutes a day, regardless of what it is, maybe it's 10 minutes on a walk, maybe it's 10 minutes after dinner going on a walk, maybe it's just, I have a small trampoline, a rebounder, 10 minutes on that, making it add up to 30 minutes. But 30 minutes a day is for 5 days a week is so important for your mental health, because it releases a lot of different hormones that our body needs to be able to function on a regular basis. Those hormones are not getting released a lot of times when we're stagnant and we're sitting, we're not moving. Like I said, I'm not a big exercise guru, because I can't overdo myself. There's a lot that goes into that as why, but like basically when you've been overstressed for too long or over anxious for too long, my adrenals have been overworked. So if I exercise, because when we do exercise, your adrenals release that cortisol, which is that hormone. Mine has been overworked too much. Even when I exercise, if I exercise too much, I'm releasing that into my body, but my body's not ready to accept it, all of that right now, because I'm still healing. So I can't overdo exercise anyway. So basically I have to pace myself.
I got a reason. I got to.
So what I'm saying is, I'm just saying move, however it is that you need to move, yoga, but just make it 30 minutes a day of some kind of movement. And like I said, break it up throughout the day. It doesn't have to be, I have to carve out 30 minutes of my day to do exercise. Because if I had to do that, I'm not motivated like that. So I just do it in increments. I go on a walk with my husband in the evening, and then I do my, trampoline during the day, and maybe some little bit of yoga, because yoga is very relaxing. That's it. I'm not doing anything strenuous and stressful or anything like that. So that is good for mental health. It does help. Believe me, it does help.
Good. I know that they'll enjoy hearing that on the recording. And Stephanie Vick also said, Bible study and prayer are how we turn to God. No other way. Daily. I totally agree with you. Okay. Is there anyone else who had a comment or a question that did not get it typed in, or you've thought of it since then? Unmute yourself and speak.
Hey, I was just going to add to all of that setting a routine where you do the same things at the same time every day will help you do better at those things. So if you are trying to add water into your routine, add it at the same time every day. I'm going to fill it up at these times and try to have it done by then. Your exercise, okay, I want to add 15 minutes in the morning, 15 at night. What time am I going to add them in? So when you start to put them in a routine, you know what you're going to do. Kind of like when you schedule your kids for school and you're like, okay, I know we're going to do math in the morning, because if we try it in the afternoon, we're just going to have a lot of tears. Pick the time of day that would best fit for that item for you. For some people, that's prayer first thing before they do something else. For others, it may be getting the kids started with what they're doing, and then you sit down and do your thing. And that's one thing that's always helped me, is knowing what time of day I'm going to do those things to make sure I get them done.
Okay, so accountability to yourself. Very good. Thank you, April, for looking it up. She says, I can't find Rochelle on Pinterest. There are a lot of Rachel Olsons. Any way she can share a link? Maybe, I don't know how to get my link, so if Aubrey can help you find your link, you can text it to me and I'll post it with the other stuff. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So I guess your name's more common than you thought. Okay. And let's see. Okay, I don't see any more there in the chat bar. Anybody else? Thank you, Eddie, for saying that, because I think, especially with school starting and everybody trying to get back in that routine, that we need to preach it to ourselves. I'm including myself in that I need to
Every day.
set a goal and stick with it on, even one thing at a time. If it's just water, then I need to get it in by lunch so much.
I might add one more thing to that.
Okay.
My daughter go
Just
get a planner, just so I wanted to show you what my routine, because I'm very routine, just like she said, routine is very important, and it is for somebody like me where you're OCD and you want to make sure you get all your things in for the day, because it is so helpful. We're busy, we've got kids, we've got things going on, we neglect ourselves a lot because we're busy focusing on our tasks at hand. We do have to put ourselves first when it comes to the one I wrote out yesterday. We do have to focus on our health so that we can take care of those that we need to. So very good point to make.
I was just going to add one more thing to that, to also remember that what is healthy for one person is not always healthy for another. So like she was talking about, she can't do a certain amount of exercise or it'll set her body back. So that is healthy for her to only do a certain amount. So for others, they may be able to run 3 miles a day, but that would not be healthy for her. So make sure that you're being realistic with what is healthy for you, and that you're not comparing yourself to somebody else and saying, oh, well, I guess I'm not healthy because I can't run X amount of miles, or I don't weight lift. Well, your body may not be able to handle that. So give yourself some grace and just remember that everybody is different in what they can and can't do. And it doesn't make you any less unhealthy, if I can say it that way, than somebody else.
Amen.
That is so true. And the reason why I put it that way is because I wanted people to know when I say exercise, I think of somebody that's going full bore, and that is for some people. But I didn't want to discourage those that are like me that say, well, if I can't do that and I can't run, like she said, 2 miles a day or whatever, then I just, I can't do it. I don't want people to get discouraged, because everybody is at their own level of health and fitness and what they can and can't accomplish or do. That is, and everybody's journey is different. And that's why I love holistic health so much, because it is based individually. It is not a one size fits all. This is what you need to do to feel better. Yes, those may help. That's great. Those are great tips or whatever, but it is a one size fit all, or it isn't a one size fit all. And so that's why I love the avenue that we have chosen, because when I go to the doctor, my doctor spends an hour with me, and is able to sit down and really know what's going on with my body and listen to my complaints or symptoms, and has done testing and all those things, and has given me a plan. And so I'm not saying conventional is wrong. I'm just saying for me and my health journey, this has been a blessing, and a different avenue that we've been able to utilize. I'm not saying, I recently had to have a mammogram because of some things that popped up. So I had to go have a mammogram, and so then we went from there for that. So it's not saying that conventional is all wrong. It's not a one size fits all, because everybody is different.
Right.
I did want to show you, if you can see, this is my morning routine. So I have it listed here, and then I check it off as I go so that I know that I've done it for the day. Mine obviously is going to look a lot different than everybody else's, but these are my top things that I want done that I know is healthy for me. My vitamins, my smoothie, my lemon water, I do three juices a day. I make sure I try to get all those in. What else is on there?
Water.
My water, 2 times a day I fill up my big jug of water, and I check it off every time I do it so that I'm aware of how many times I did it. And then I put my personal Bible study on there, and then make sure that that's been done. And then the rest of the things on my journal, or what my planner for the day, is just things I want to get done. Whether it's laundry, how many times a day. For our big family, we do it twice a day. Just different things. Water the flowers, vacuum, just different things that I know I need to get done. I'm a list maker. Not everybody can function that way. I just like to see that I've accomplished it and I can move on. It's not something, oh, I forgot, and then I forget day after day. So just for me, that's what has helped me. And also, this is my simple meal planner, and I will take a picture of it. But like, this is the top row is breakfast all the way across. Middle is lunch, bottom is dinner, and then under here I have put my ingredients that I need for the store, and then down here is my Costco list. So it's all on one page. I hang it on the refrigerator after I get done from the store, and then I go from there, and the kids can look at it and say, what are we having, and blah blah blah, and so they know. So but somebody had asked about my breakfast menu. It pretty much, like I said, stays the same Monday through Friday. Monday is hard-boiled egg with a smoothie. Tuesday is pancakes. Wednesday is oatmeal with fruit. Thursday is scrambled eggs with veggies or avocado toast with a smoothie. And Friday is yogurt parfaits or French toast. So that's pretty much what we've been going by. The kids have had no complaints so far, so we're good. And it's simple things that, excuse me, that I've been able to make super fast. So yeah, I will take a picture of that to make sure that you guys can have that for those that want. So yeah.
Okay, well, I also, I just remembered something I want to get, but it's on my shelf. So anybody else have a question? Okay, seriously, nobody said a word. Okay, Rochelle gave me this, and if you want me to mail you a copy, or I don't know where she can tell me where she found it, but I haven't used it yet, but I'm gonna, I promise. This, if you can see, is every month spelled out, and inside the month, let me pick a short one. Let me pick July. Inside the month, it's divided into how many days are in that month. So if you're artsy and you want to set a goal, maybe to drink water or to exercise once a day or whatever, you color in that number. So whatever habit you're working on, you color in each day that you've done that habit. So the whole year is on the sheet. That's too intimidating. You could just take the month and blow it up and just have 1 month on one page. Does that make sense? Rochelle, what do you use this for?
That was for exercise.
Exercise.
Just, yeah, making sure that I get my 30 minutes of exercise every day.
And you could use it for homes. I mean, we've talked about trying to extend this health journey to our kids. You could use that for health and PE for school, and just color in every day that you've done XYZ, whatever goal you've set for your kids. I don't know, walk the dog, drink your water, whatever. So
yeah.
Okay, well, before Michelle closes us in prayer, I want to thank everybody for coming, and I will try my best tomorrow to get the recording posted on the coach page. It takes a while to download, and it's 10:18 here, so once I get off here, I'm going to do family stuff, and so I won't do it till tomorrow, but I'll put it on the page, and then Rochelle can text me some things to share with y'all as far as the recipes go, and I'll put those on the page. And this ID and password that you used today, I've set it up on my Zoom account for, this is the coach one all year. So every month when we have our Zoom, this will be the ID and the password. I'll try to repost it, but if you want to be a brown noser, teacher, pet pleaser, then just keep it by your laptop. Because when I start the meeting, I don't want to get 58 text messages to say, what's the ID and password? So that would be helpful if you could keep it somewhere. If not, it'll always be on the event page of that month's event. So, and Celine is on with us. She's up for next month. She's going to be for September. And when I told her topic, she was like, don't really know if I can say anything about that. And I'm like, yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. Because you're awesome. So hopefully y'all enjoyed Miss Rochelle. I sure did. And if y'all want to share any victories that you gain in the next month of something you changed, I know she would love to hear from you. So look her up on Facebook. She's Matt. Is there an N or an and between your name?
A-N-D, and.
Okay, Matt and Rachel. I'm saying it wrong, so you can spell it correctly. Matt and Rachel Olson is her Facebook name, but her name is Rochelle. And April Smith is the queen. She has found the month tracker online. So the one I was holding up for you all, she found it online and it's on the chat. So April, maybe you can copy and paste that for the coach page too. Here's what we need. We need to put this stuff in the file section because I don't utilize that. We don't utilize that, do we? I know we have some things in there, but I just forget. So somebody needs to take that job over. Okay. All right. So I'll let Michelle close us in prayer. Rochelle, thank you.
You're welcome. I appreciate you allowing me to be a part of this. It's great.
I love it. I love you. Thank you so much.
Love you.
All right, Sister Tennant.
Dear Lord, we thank you so much for this opportunity to come together and encourage each other in our journeys. Please help us on our spiritual and our physical health journeys. Let us be good examples for our kids. Let us increase in our Bible study and our prayer life so that we can be more pleasing to you and we can make an impact on those around us and bring others to you. Please be with us until next time that we can gather together. Help us to improve in the areas that we struggle in. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much. Okay, y'all have a good night.
Bye. Thank
Bye,
you.
guys.